The host, realizing that time is slipping away, reminds the pilgrims that while lost cattle can be found, lost time never returns. Addressing the man of law in a mock legal fashion, he asks him to tell the next tale, jokingly asserting his role as judge of the best story. The man of law agrees, stating, to break forward, is nat min entente. I do not intend to break our agreement, but laments he has no suitable tale to tell, as Chaucer has already told all the good ones. He lists some of Chaucer's works, such as Six and Alcyone, from the Book of the Duchess, and the Legend of Good Women, noting that Chaucer never told the tale of wicked Canacee, who had an incestuous relationship with her brother. The man of law vows not to tell that story either. He begins his tale with good cheer, though he says, I speak in prose, contrasting himself with the poet Chaucer. The prologue begins by lamenting poverty, describing how it forces people to steal, beg, or borrow, and makes them blame Christ and envy their neighbors. It drives away friends and family, leaving the poor desolate. The prologue then addresses wealthy merchants, who are always happy because they are rich. The man of law transitions to his tale, claiming he heard it from a merchant years ago. In Syria, a group of wealthy traders traveled to Rome and heard of Constance, the emperor's daughter, known for her virtue, goodness, and beauty. They saw her themselves and reported back to the Sultan, who immediately desired her. The Sultan, eager to marry Constance, decided to convert to Christianity, along with his entire court. To make the marriage possible, hearing of the Sultan's desire, the Roman emperor agreed, organizing a grand departure for Constance. Despite her sorrow, Constance prepared to leave, knowing she had no choice. She wept at the thought of leaving her friends and father to marry a man she had never met in a foreign land. The narrator empathizes with her plight, recognizing her bravery in fulfilling Christ's will. Meanwhile, the Sultan's mother, a deeply wicked woman, plotted against Constance, unwilling to renounce her Muslim faith. She convinced her advisors to pretend to convert, while secretly planning to kill all the Christians. When Constance and her entourage arrived in Syria, they were warmly received, but during a feast at the Sultan's palace, the Sultan's mother's men massacred all the Christians, sparing only Constance. The Sultan was killed, and Constance was set adrift in a rudderless ship, with some food, clothes, and treasure left to the mercy of the sea. Miraculously, Constance's ship reached the shores of Northumberland. A warden of a nearby castle found her and took her in. Constance, refusing to reveal her identity, soon converted the warden's wife, Dame Hermingilde, to Christianity. In this pagan land, Christians practiced their faith in secret. Constance performed a miracle by curing a blind man, further convincing the warden and Hermingilde of her piety. The warden was not the lord of the castle. It was ruled by King Allah. A young knight, driven by Satan, fell in love with Constance, but when she refused him, he sought revenge. He murdered Hermingilde and framed Constance, placing the knife beside her. Brought before King Allah, the people spoke in Constance's defense, and the king ordered a book to be brought for the knight to swear upon. The knight falsely swore that Constance was guilty, but he was struck dead, his eyes bursting from his head. a miracle that converted many, including King Alla, to Christianity. King Alla married Constance, but his mother Donegild despised her. While Alla was away, Constance gave birth to a son, Mauritius. Donegild intercepted letters between Alla and Constance, forging orders to banish Constance and her child. Constance, heartbroken, was set adrift again. When Alla returned and learned the truth, he killed Donegild for her treachery. Constance, meanwhile, washed ashore in another heathen land. The steward of the warden there tried to force himself on her, but the Virgin Mary helped Constance, and the steward drowned. Constance was eventually found by a Roman senator and taken back to Rome. Alla, seeking penance for his mother's actions, travelled to Rome. By chance, he met Constance's son, who looked like him, and eventually found Constance herself. They were reunited with joy and returned to England, living happily until Alla's death a year later. Constance returned to Rome with her son, who later became emperor. The host praises the man of law's tale and turns to the parson to tell the next story. The parson rebukes the host for swearing blasphemously, but the host mocks him as a jankin, a derisive name for a priest, and a lollard, a heretic. The host, announcing that the lollard will preach, is interrupted by the shipman. The shipman objects to the parson's moralizing and promises a merry tale without philosophy or legal matters, joking that he has little Latin in his stomach.